I want to thank all of you for tuning in to, I guess, what we now title the rap session. So we're here to do a rap for you guys. It may not turn out well. Jamie can probably cover us, but anyhow, this is Jamie Harris. He's married, got a wonderful wife. Oh, I was going to have you tell us who you are.
Oh, yeah.
All right, why don't you introduce your daughter?
My daughter is, that's right. My daughter's Macy.
Yeah.
You guys haven't really got officially meet her yet. Some of you may have. But yeah, I'm Jamie. I hang out with the worship team here at Lake Point and come and dork around with Tom every now and then.
It's great to have you. Thanks for being here today. And you, sir?
My name is Fred Hartson, and my wife and I moved up here to Oregon 4 years ago from out in the California desert, and it's been quite a change. And one of the first things we did was find a church home, and we stumbled upon Lake Point.
And we didn't let you leave.
Well, we're grateful that, Fred, that you and Susan are here. Fred serves on our church council presently. Jamie, in the event you're not aware, founded and runs a not-for-profit called Satellite Gaming. We might be able to put a link on so you can learn a little bit more about that and see if you can be involved. They've got camps coming up called Camp Solo. Anyhow, he's a creative superstar when it comes to kingdom work. So thank you for being here. You guys were with us for the message today. Thank you for being here. We kind of blew through Romans chapter 8, but one question that I would appreciate both of you answering, not simultaneously, but both of you answering is, what would your life be like if you completely trusted that God was always working within you and for you? And yeah, what would your life be like if that trust level was off the charts? And we referenced Romans 8, verses 38 through 39. We won't take time to read it now. But it's where Paul talks about absolutely nothing separating us from the love of God. Fred?
You first.
Well, that's a question intellectually I can fully agree to, but emotionally that's where I have problems with it. And so there it starts to eat away at my self-confidence, and I start thinking, well, if I step out in this area, what's going to be the reaction? And I start losing my focus on the fact that regardless of what the reaction is, that Jesus still has my back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just need to bolster up my faith in that fact and just take ownership of that and just experience that emotionally.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So one secondary part to the question is, what shift in your mindset would need to take place? And you kind of addressed that when you answered the first question. This is going to cause you to be a little bit vulnerable. Is there an example where that you could share in this context, in this setting, of where your undermined confidence has kept you from stepping into something? I don't know, in your artistic endeavors or service in the kingdom or the church or whatever.
Nothing specific comes to mind. I know often I'll try to, put up a front of being, faithful and in control. And the first time it hit me that I wasn't really being genuine and letting God really work through me and in me was when our 3-year-old daughter was in an accident and sent to the burn center in Sherman Oaks. And I called and I was breaking the news to my grandmother, who is probably the most saintly woman I've ever known, as most grandmothers probably are. Sure. But I explained to her that Heidi was in the burn center, and she started crying. And I thought, well, my obligation is to reassure her. So I thought, well, God has this all handled, everything. And her response really kind of took me aback. And it was, I know that, but she's still a little girl and she's hurting. And, it really forced me to look at whether I'm really focused on this situation.
Yeah.
And You know, so I know looking at situations, hard situations that come before you doesn't mean that you don't feel the hurt in those situations. But in spite of the hurt, you can still rely on God for the solution.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing
That's
that story with us. Jamie, is there a question or something you want to tackle?
Yeah, I like all this. I mean, Fred, thanks for the vulnerability and just talking about like a specific story in your life. I was actually thinking of some things in my life, but even with Jesus when he was in the garden getting ready to go to the cross. I mean, the guy's like crying and he's bleeding, like he's in so much stress and anxiety. Like I have anxiety. I feel like Jesus, not to a sinful degree, but was certainly, I don't think fearful is the right word, but he was literally saying, God, if it be your will, take this from me. Like, and yet there was still this like extreme amount of trust. So I like what Fred said, in that like you're gonna have feelings there that maybe feel like they're not demonstrating trust for God. I think those feelings are okay to have. Jesus had those feelings, but it's how we respond given those feelings. I'm a feelings guy. Like if you know me, you've probably hurt my feelings at some point, and it probably wasn't your fault, right? Like it's just the way I am. But the moment I allow those feelings to I guess influence and impact my decisions and how I treat people, and how I navigate situations where I should be trusting God, is where I think it becomes this. I'll say sin. Yeah. Like if I let something take over, my emotions so much that I allow it to influence the way I treat people, then it's certainly sin. And I think that for me, of all this, not just looking at Jesus' life, but at my life, where I could probably live that out a little more, or at least for me, it's all in my mind. It's a perspective thing, It's people sitting across the table from me may not realize it, but I'm overthinking and everything that happens. And I think that for me, the peace that I can find in these verses and this what we've learned today is just how I'm processing it in my brain, right? Like I could act one way with you today, act the same way with you tomorrow, but something different's going on in my head both times. So it's an internal battle for me. It really is. And hey, you know what? I see a counselor, and I love admitting that and saying that, because I know that for me, there have been times in my life where I want to trust God. And I may show, like you said, I may show outwardly that I'm trusting him, but it's this battle inside. So for me, taking that step of humility to just say, like, I gotta talk to somebody that's a professional on how these things work. It's been really good for me. Also in the life of my baby now, this whole COVID thing and people not being able to see my baby and meet my baby, I think about like, what does it mean to trust God that everything's gonna work out for good? Well, on a macro level, it means he's coming back someday, and I don't have anything to worry about. On a micro level, that may not mean that he's going to make everything in my day perfect. You know what I mean? So I think from a macro level, we can always trust him. But from a micro level, there's trust, but we may as humans feel like we shouldn't be able to trust him, but we always can.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I don't know if there's any additional thoughts. If not, I want to wrap up.
I just want to say thanks for letting me be here. This is cool. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks to both of you. It's great. We've got a early 30s and above group here, and I just appreciate the perspectives that both of you bring. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable about your travel with Jesus. And those of you watching, if any of you would like to be part of a little panel discussion like this, just email us or do something on Facebook, whatever that is. We'd love to include you in something like this. Thanks again, Fred Hartson, his wife Susan, Jamie, his wife Jessica, and their daughter Macy. And they got a bunch of dogs, so they're probably looking for a dog sitter if you're in for it.
We don't pay.
Would you tell everyone that you love them?
Yeah,
Oh,
love you.
we love you.
Oh yes, definitely.
Love you all.